Here, we'll explore the next two suggestions for improving school culture: investing in staff development and engaging with the Native community. First, let's focus on investing in staff development. Because Native people make up such a small minority of educators, it's likely that most educators are unfamiliar with aspects of Native life, community, and culture. Knowing that Native people have a dark and violent history with the American school system, it's important that educators invest time into learning about Native people as a way of building trusted relationships. Here are some ways that schools might invest in their staff. Create ongoing learning opportunities to explore issues around diversity, inclusion, and equity. It's best to hire someone who professionally works in this space to administer these training sessions. Invest in Native community members and Native-led organizations to train, teach, and inform on issues related to Native culture, identity, politics, environmental challenges, public health, and more. Many cities have cultural centers who can host staff field trips and trainings, and some tribal offices have outreach staff who may be able to do trainings as well. Recognize and reward staff who are making changes and putting in effort to create more equitable learning spaces for all students, including Native students. Remember, Native students are often left out of data or fly completely under the radar. When discussing equity with your staff, don't forget Native people. Recognizing staff for their efforts is a part of creating a positive work culture rooted in a growth mindset. Try doing positive staff shout-outs at the beginning of staff meetings so that staff can celebrate one another publicly. Recruit and retain Native faculty and staff. Where can you post your job listings to attract more Native candidates? Contact tribal offices, cultural centers, Indian health centers, Native Studies program offices at universities, and Native media publications like Indian Country Today. If Native staff have a low retention rate at your site, it's worth reflecting on why Native staff leave and how work culture might contribute to a potentially unwelcoming environment for Native and BIPOC employees. Now let's pause to go over some reflection questions. What opportunities does your staff already have to explore issues around diversity, inclusion, and equity? What do you wish you had more of in regards to this work? Have you ever been given training on how to teach about Native American history or culture? What kind of knowledge or support would you need to feel totally comfortable and prepared to teach Native topics? How does your school foster a growth mindset in its staff? And how do you think it can improve? Does your staff include Native people? Why or why not? What are the benefits of having Native staff members on the team? The third strategy for creating a welcoming school environment for Native students and families is finding ways to meaningfully engage with the Native community. Let's face it, school staff can read about diversity and equity all they want, but if schools don't build actual, authentic relationships with the communities they serve, then efforts to improve equity remain pretty hollow. Taking the time to engage with the broader communities that the school serves communicates respect, a willingness to learn, and a real desire to build trust. Here are some simple ways to start building these relationships. Introduce school staff to education support staff at tribal offices. Many tribes have education support staff who can help connect tribal members with tutors, scholarships, outside education opportunities, supplies, and more. Sometimes this staff might attend important school meetings like IEP meetings or parent-teacher conferences. Having a positive and open relationship with tribal offices is a great way to communicate that the school cares about Native students' well-being and success. Support the formation of Native Parent Association committees at your district. Parent involvement in education is deeply connected to positive outcomes in students. PACs may advocate for changes in the school that reflect the group's common or shared cultural values. They even have the power to influence school district policies. Administrators may choose to ask for feedback from a PAC when reviewing a specific program or policy. Visit tribal communities, museums, and resource centers to build relationships. Most counties have Native cultural centers of some sort that offer after-school programs, cultural classes, and learning opportunities for the public. Native museums may also provide events and other learning opportunities. Some are willing to connect teachers with the materials they need to accurately teach about Native culture and history. These institutions may range from the tribal level to the state level or even to the federal level. Work with Native communities to offer internships and volunteer hours at tribal institutions. This connects all students with real-world work experience and insight into the tribal system in the U.S. You can also open up the school campus for Native-led cultural events. For example, Stanford University and many others host public powwows annually to show their support for the Native community. Let's wrap up this session by reviewing some reflection questions. What tribes and Native cultural institutions exist in your area? What information are you interested in gathering from these places? In what ways does your school currently engage with the broader communities that your school serves? How do you think you can do better? What barriers or challenges do you anticipate, and what are some strategies for overcoming these barriers?